Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelly and I am so glad you guys are here. I was gonna do something with my nails and I didn't. One of the many things that I think I've forgotten today. Today, I'm super excited because I've got a couple things I wanna film, but I'm gonna start with a dupe. I've got two, well actually I picked up 3 of the 5 latest CColor Cosmetics releases, their palette releases. 2 of the 3 I have the originals for, so we're gonna compare the 2. I think I've got a little bit of a surprise, but we'll see. I haven't played with them yet. And then I picked up another one, which is the palette that I had really wanted. So this is one of the 3. This is called the Sublime by CColor Cosmetics. And if you look at it, it looks like the Too Femme palette. I didn't get the original one. I really wanted it, but then I was not really sure about it. Too Faced is the one that came out with the Too Femme palette. Currently, right now, when I'm looking at it, I see Amazon $23.44, Macy's $33.15 on sale. Was originally, looks like $39. And not that $39 is horrible, but I couldn't convince myself that I wanted it for $39. This, however, looks like very much a summer, spring palette, very light and pretty, a lot of pastels in it, which was probably also the reason why I was kind of hesitant to it. But anyway, when it was on for CColor Cosmetics, and I thought, I'm placing an order, I'm going to use Hot Mess Mama's code, and then we'll see. We'll see if you guys want me to come back and do 3 looks with it. I can't compare it to the original, but I'm happy to do a video. So you let me know what you guys want. Leave me a comment down below. In the meantime, I'm gonna do this one first. This is the Natasha Denona Glam Palette, and this is the Glamorous by CColor Cosmetics. I need to get some face base makeup on before we get into it, so give me just 1 minute and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm back. I have now a face full of mostly, well, makeup. And I thought I would get into these 2 palettes. What I'm gonna do is what I normally do with my dupe videos. I'm going to color switch in between. I'm missing things. I'm missing my new Natasha Denona lip liner. You know, the one that came with the My Dream, the one that's Natasha. I don't know where I did. I had it earlier. I've been cleaning today. I've been organizing. Do you ever have those days where you clean and you organize and you find shit and then you're like, oh, that thing that I just found, where did that go? I know it's somewhere. I just don't know where. Exact moment. Okay guys, so we're gonna use these 2 palettes. Here's the interesting thing about this, and when I first saw this get released, I was like, it looks familiar, but I don't know what it is. So I didn't put 2 and 2 together and say, oh, Glamorous, glam. Yeah, okay. And I know that I've done a video recently. I'm gonna actually move it down. I did a dupe video with Alter Ego. It's not much of an ASMR thing, is it? But I'm gonna move it maybe down until next month, because this is the one that just came out, and the Alter Ego one's been out for a long time. I didn't realize this was coming out when I did the other video. Okay, so anyway, this is what the palette looks like, and it is not set up in the same 3-row configuration as Natasha Denona's Glam palette, and it has 1 less shade than the Glam palette does. That's kind of where the dissimilarities stop. And the reason why I say that is because if you were to look at this palette right side by side, right next to each other, like we're doing right now, sorry, the only shade that is not duplicated in the CColor Cosmetics is this deepest, darkest shade right here smack dab in the middle. And I know that because if I look at this palette and compare it color to color, I'm gonna destroy this palette. I just dug the corner of my Natasha palette into my CColor Cosmetics palette. I'm glad I didn't go the other opposite direction. Okay, so I'm gonna try to show this. Okay, we're gonna do it this way. Okay, this will make sense. So this shade right here is supposed to be a dupe for this one. This one is that. This one is that. This one there. That one there. This one is supposed to be this. This one is this. We skip this one. Then we have this shade right here is this one. That goes there. This one there. That there. This one there. That there. And that there. I haven't swatched them yet, but when I was looking at it with my husband, he goes, oh yeah, they're actually in order. Minus the dark one in the middle. That's not the only thing that is similar between these 2. So I said one of them is called Glam, the other one's called Glamorous. Shade names from left to right. Center eyelid, outer eyelid, outer eyelid, inner corner, crease, transition, so on and so forth. They literally named the shades the exact same. This is the closest I've seen CColor go into the realm of the original. Usually they're like, okay, we'll call it something, instead of Riviera, we'll call it Cabana. And then the shade names are not the same. At least I don't think they are. I gotta be honest, I don't always take a look. But now I'm going to. So the other thing that's interesting is this looks a little bit more like one of the ColourPop covers we've seen. It's a cardboard case. It does say that it is 0.49 ounces, 14 grams, CColorCosmetics.com, made in China. First ingredients is talc, followed by mica. So there you have it. The Natasha one doesn't give me all that kind of stuff anymore because it's not in the box, because I take it out of the box because I actually use it. And this is probably one of my top, I'm gonna say this has got to be probably one of my top 3 or 4 Natasha Denona palettes. It might be like my second or third. I'd have to think about it and look into it. So here's what we're gonna do. If you're new to my channel, the way I do it is similar to how other people do dupe videos, and that is I'm going to use the same brushes on both eyes. I'm going to color switch them in between. I'm going to try to take the corresponding shade, and let's just see if we can't get the same color story, perhaps even the same formula. We've had some pretty surprising luck with formula dupes, despite one of them being made like in Italy and one of them being made in, you know, the PRC. So let's get into it. I do have the Natasha Denona eye base on my eyes right now, just to kind of level the playing field. Might as well start with that. And then, yeah, let's get into this here. I don't even know what I'm gonna do, but I do really like that light pink that's the center eyelid shade. I don't necessarily follow directly kind of what they should be. Maybe I should. You know what? Maybe I will, which I don't normally do. So I'm gonna start with the shade on this. I gotta find a smaller brush here. On the CColor Cosmetics side called Crease. We're going to start with that one, and we're going to do that on my non-wedding ring side. A little bit of kick up, but not horrible. Yeah, when I saw these get released, and the first one I saw was the one that's the Two Femme dupe called Sublime, and I went, that's that palette that I wanted to get that I never got. And then I saw another one that I'm like, oh, I know what that one is. And then I saw this one, and at first I was confused because the fact that it's round in 2 rows was throwing me off. I couldn't have, you know, told by the name being Glamorous that it was supposed to be a dupe for the Glam. Actually asked Rhonda over at Hot Mess Mama, and she was like, oh yeah, Shell, don't be dumb. Okay, so we're gonna go into the crease shade on the Natasha Denona palette, and a little bit more pigmented, a lot more pigmented actually. I just barely tipped into it, whereas on the CColor side I went in like 3 times. Very much so a darker, richer shade. Good thing they gave us the instructions in their shade names, huh? I'm trying to figure out if I can blend this in, shear this out enough so that it's this kind of dusty pale gray on the other side. I will go ahead and link my other video that I used, that I made using the Glam Palette. I'll link it down below in case you want to see my original impression of it. So I'm going to go into the transition shade on the CColor Cosmetics side. Lots of kick up, tons and tons and tons of kick up on this. We're going to use it as a transition shade and kind of soften up that upper edge of that crease shade. Right now, these 2 shades together are looking very chalky on my CColor Cosmetics side. Cleaning off the brush, switching over to the Natasha side. We're getting into crease on this side. And when I first originally, I don't even know that I've used this shade because it's so pale. Normally, when I use this palette, I don't follow the instructions. I don't use it as, you know, she named it, which I think is super cool that she did. There's a lot of kick up in this shade too. It's not just the CColor Cosmetics side. It might be the brush. This is a Morphe brush, Morphe synthetic brush. Okay, when I look at it so far, it definitely feels like the Natasha side. I got a smoother blend. And on the CColor, it just seems very washed out. And if I work on it, I can get a little bit better of a blend. But it's definitely softer and lighter on the CColor Cosmetics side. And I'm not a master blender. I'm not a makeup artist, so I do the best I can. Okay, the next shade we're gonna get into is called Smoke. And this is the shade that I dug the corner of the other palette into. That one seems like it's maybe a little bit more tightly packed. Okay, so we're gonna smoke this out down here. Oh my gosh, I got a ton of fallout underneath. Thought I tapped it off, but apparently not. Wow, that's disappointing. There's so much on my cheek. That's a pretty shade. It's kind of almost like a mink color. I'm gonna go back into my original transition brush. I might have to do a little cleanup afterwards, but we got it started here anyway. Okay, let's switch back over to the Natasha side. And that same brush, I'm cleaning it off right now. And we're going into Smoke. It's down here. Second row, first shade. The kick up off. And that seems softer on the Natasha side. Not as pigmented initially as it was on the CColor, but maybe not. maybe. Okay, after I get that shade on, I'm starting to feel like the two are very, very similar. I'm gonna get back into smoke on the Natasha side. For fun, I'm gonna go back in on the CColor side, pick up a little tiny bit more smoke, and just make sure I've got that. Now, as I look, the Natasha side really seemed to build up a little bit better. So in what I'm seeing consistently right now is that the shades are pretty close, but the Natasha side is more pigmented and I don't have to build it up and blend quite so hard. I'm cleaning this brush off as I go back and forth between the two. That's kind of like the main thing I'm noticing in the quality of them right now. So I'm going to take outer eyelid. We're going to switch over and do the Natasha side first. So I'm going to take the outer eyelid shade and I'm going to put this right out here in the outer third. I love this quality of eyeshadow so much. It feels so good. And I love this palette. Out of this one and the counterpart bronze as a warmer version, I definitely like Glamour. I like Glam better than bronze. Okay, we're going to take the outer eyelid shade over here on the CColor Cosmetics side and plug that right in there. They both feel more like a thin topper, but I've got them built up pretty well. Feeling very similarly equipped with both of those. Okay, now we're gonna go into the center eyelid shade. This is on the CColor side. This is the one that I love the most in this palette. It's like pale pink. And this is the one that I think make this this palette really, really pretty. Is you can do this kind of like gray pink kind of look, and it's almost like a pearlescent finish. It's so pretty. And we're gonna go back into the Natasha Denona side, and I'm gonna grab center eyelid over here. And again, I'm putting this in like the center third, its name suggests. These actually both have a similar, relatively similar feel. These shimmers, almost like a metallic shimmer. And I just grabbed my transition brush and we're just gonna kind of dust some of the sparkly bits out of the crease, cleaning it off. Same thing over here. Wow, I do have a ton of fallout on my cheek on the CColor Cosmetics side. Okay, now we're gonna take the last shade in here on the Natasha side. This one's called Inner Corner. Pop this right in the center. I do love using my fingers with some of these shimmers. They just go on very well. Okay, now I'm gonna switch over to the CColor side. We're gonna pick up Inner Corner over here. That one seems like it has a little bit more of like an apricot-y undertone than on the Natasha side. I'm gonna grab a little different brush here. We're gonna go back into center eyelid on the CColor Cosmetics side. I had to change my battery because it died on me, but I just took that center shade on the CColor side and I'm bringing a little bit of it down below too. Brings a little bit of lightness to it. Yeah, I feel like this one is just a slightly warmer shade than on the Natasha side. We're gonna go into center eyelid. I just cleaned that brush off again. Center eyelid on the Natasha side, and we'll bring that in here and see if, you know what, now that I've applied over it with the brush, it actually looks very similar. So I lied when I said that it seemed that it was a different shade, because now that I have it on my eyelid, it's looking very, 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 very similar. Except for this fallout right here, which is a little frustrating. But it's cleaning off. I'm actually just going to take this brush and use it to blend in that big fluffy brush. And clean it off. And we'll do the same over here. Just give it a little bit of a softer blend. All right, I need to do something down below. Let me grab another little pencil brush. We're going to go into lash line. No, I can't because I don't have that matching one, do I? I think we have to use the smoke shade. We're going to use the smoke shade on the Natasha side. And we're just getting it into the lash line and then blending it down a little bit. Okay, and cleaning it off. This brush, I think, is time for it to say goodbye. And we're going to go back into smoke. This is the one that had all that kick up. I'm scared to use this one. Use smoke on the CColor Cosmetics side. Tapped it off quite a bit, hoping it would not spread too much. My problem is that because it's so sheer, I feel like I'm having building it up the same saturation. We're in pretty good shape. I think that's about all I'm gonna do to try to make these similar. Where's my beauty sponge here? I'm just gonna kind of press in and kind of clean up around my eyes just a little bit. Let me get some mascara on and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm back. I don't love this mascara. This one that I got from Primark when I was on vacation. I've used it now half a dozen times and it's just not my favorite. So I think we need to send it on its way. It wasn't very expensive. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have so much fallout on this table from that one smoke shade. It's crazy. And I've got it in my contact, which is disconcerting because now I've got makeup in my contact. All right, you guys, so here's my final take on it. I feel like I got the same look on both eyes. That was kind of what we were going for, right? And I feel like if somebody saw me walking down the street, they're not going to necessarily know that I'm wearing two different brands, two different palettes, one being a dupe of the other. I don't think they're going to notice that. I think that they're similar enough, and I think you can get the similar color story. Now, I only tried half the shades, right? I didn't even use the blend shade. I just used these 6 shades right here, so I can't speak to the other ones. But if I go off of, you know, my experience with CColor Cosmetics, and I've tried a lot of their palettes, I would say that the palette quality is fine. It's a budget-friendly brand. You can even still get a discount on it. They didn't give one for me. I asked for one a long time ago, and they never gave me one. But feel free to use, I think it's Hot Mess 10. Maybe is Rhonda over at Hot Mess Mama. She's got a code. Use her code. Give her some love here. I don't know her personally, but she does answer my messages every now and then. You can't really compare the Natasha Denona palette. This one just, it's heavier, it feels nicer. There's no comparison. You're paying for the experience of using the Natasha Denona palette and quality. Can you get a similar look? Absolutely. I don't necessarily like these long palettes as much because they're almost like they're too long on my shelf, so they kind of stick out a little bit. These ones fit nicer on my shelf. These ones are a little bit more portable. The CColor Cosmetics one does have a mirror. It's significantly smaller than the one from Natasha, but it does have a mirror, which is nice. They're about crossing a line though with the, I mean, there's nothing on here that says this is a Natasha Denona Glam Palette. That would be a fake, and this is not a fake. This is about as closely inspired by as I have seen. The one thing is, for me, I look for 2 shades to make a completely usable palette for me. One is going to be something that's a lighter shade. It doesn't have to be a frost, it can, or, you know, kind of a shimmer. It can be a matte. But as long as I've got a lighter shade that I can use to get into my inner corner, because I do have close set eyes, I need that to lighten things up, but I also need a really dark color. This one has that super dark color. The other one has colors that are dark enough because we're missing that super dark shade. I feel it's missing, and that was probably the reason why I didn't identify this immediately as the dupe for the Glam palette, because it doesn't have that, and that's like one of the 2 shades I always look for in a palette. Does it have my super light one? Does it have my super dark one? Anything else in the middle I can make work. Typically, this one doesn't have that. This is just this is like one of the ColourPop palettes, like Slate or one of those. It's just a neutral palette. It's a pretty neutral palette, and it works. That fallout, though, that fallout is something else. All right, you guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you found this somewhat interesting. If you like dupe videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you get notified. I tend to upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and nobody out there loves you as much as I do. I hope you guys are doing really well, and until my next video, bye for now.